Welcome back, you lousy ballbags. I'd better catch you up since you're obviously too daft to keep track of what's happened. We Kevin and Lance, two complete dafties, were just minding their own business when they stumbled into a right shite show. Falling down a bloody hill and landing smack in the middle of a cave full of glowing symbols, they met McGuinness McBeguineys, a crusty old wizard with a face like a slapped arse. He threatened to roast their balls that they didn't help him gather 7 rare ingredients for some potion, only he seemed to give a toss about. Since then, they've been barely surviving disaster after disaster. First, they almost got barbecued by a firehawk while trying to steal some solar ember blossoms. Then, in the last chapter, they ended up knee-deep in muck at the Swamp of Sorrow, nearly drowning in Lady Midnight's soggy swamp while chasing after something else they didn't fully understand. Now they've got their sights set on their next challenge, finding Mercury's Fleetfoot Fern. But the only thing standing between them and the Fern? A pack of windy bastards called the Wind Spirits. Aye, this is going to be a rough one. Buckle in and hold on to your balls. Aye, Lance, you feeking tube. Keep moving or the wind'll blow your fat arse clean off the cliff. Kevin was halfway up the Howlin Cliffs, clinging to a rock ledge as the wind blasted him in the face like it had a personal grudge. Lance, as per usual, was struggling behind him, puffing like an asthmatic rhino, his tartan flapping round like a flag on the 4th of July. How did we end up on a cliff with nae rope, nae plan, and nae idea what the feck we're doing? Lance shouted, his voice nearly getting swept away by the wind. I blame ye entirely, Kevin. Blame me. It's your dumb arse that followed me, Kevin shot back, his body heat glistening in the sunlight like a peeled tatty. Besides, we're halfway there now. The Fleetfoot Fern's at the top and you'll be able to tell your grandwains about how we got blown to bits. Nae bloody kids for me, mate. No, since that last accident with Farmer McDougal's sheepdog. Bastard bit me clean through. Lance grumbled, his face red from both effort and the wind. You reckon this Fern's even worth it? I'd rather be home with a pint and a sausage roll. But there was nae pint or sausage roll in sight, only the endless wind screaming round the cliffs like a pack of banshees after a night on the sauce. The cliffs seemed alive, moving with every gust, and the air had an edge to it that made it feel like it wasn't just trying to knock them over. It was trying to if it can kill them. Oh, listen, Kevin suddenly hissed, stopping in his tracks. The wind wasn't just howling, it was whispering, murmurings drifting on the breeze like some drunk fella slurring shite after too many drams. What the feck is that? Lance muttered, his eyes wide as he tried to make out the words. Are the cliffs talking? Talking? Nah, it's the wind spirits, you dafty, Kevin said, squinting against the gusts. McBaggins warned us about these bastards. They cannae be fought with fists. It's all about outsmarting them. Language, communication, ye ken? Ah, bollocks. Lance groaned, scratching his beard, which by now was a tangled mess. So, we cannae just punch him in the face and hope for the best? No, Lance. Nay, everything can be solved by you swinging your fists like a pissed off gorilla. We've got to use our heads for once, even though that's clearly a challenge for you. As soon as Kevin said it, the wind picked up again, and this time it came in shapes. Swirling figures of air and mist gathered in front of them, changing form like smoke in a glass bottle. One of the spirits, taller and twistier than the rest, floated toward them, its voice hissing through the air like a snake trapped in a wind tunnel. Mortal fools, it spat. Ye dare challenge the winds of Mercury? You'll nae pass here unless ye answer us. Oh, aye, feekin' brilliant, Kevin muttered, already sick of this shite. Gay on. What's your bloody riddle then? The spirit let out a sound like a cackle, but it was more like a scream caught in a gale. It drifted closer, its misty form hovering above them, twisting in the air like a pissed-off tornado. Answer me this, or be blown to the depths. I fly with nae wings, I speak with nae lips, I bring calm or chaos through your fingertips. What am I? Ah, you daft bugger, Kevin groaned. It's wind, obvious in it. The spirit paused, clearly nae expecting Kevin to get it right so fast.
Lance, on the other hand, just stared at the spirit like a cow watching a train, still trying to process what the hell was going on. Aye, the spirit finally admitted, though it sounded a bit pissed off that its wee riddle wasn't that much of a challenge. Ye've answered true, but now you'll face our fury. Before they could so much as blink, the wind went from a heavy breeze to an all-out hurricane. Kevin barely had time to grab onto Lance before they both got lifted clean off their feet. Bloody hell, Kevin, we're gonna die, Lance screamed as they spun round like two ragdolls caught in a blender. His tartan was flapping so violently it was practically making its own wind, and his face was frozen in sheer terror. But instead of panicking, Kevin had a moment of brilliance. Or insanity. Or both. "Dinna fight it, you eejit," Kevin yelled through the wind. "Let it take us, we've got to ride this out." "Ride it out? We're feeking airborne, you madman." But Kevin wasn't wrong. Instead of struggling like a couple of fish caught in a net, they let go, letting the wind carry them higher and higher, their bodies spinning and whirling through the air like discarded chip wrappers. The wind spirits circled them, their voices cackling in the storm, but instead of battering them to a pulp, they seemed to be testing them. Do ye resist, or do ye listen? And listen they did. They went wherever the wind wanted them to, drifting like two daft balloons on a windy day at the fair. Eventually the wind softened, the chaos calmed them, and they were lowered to the ground on the peak of the cliff. There it was. Mercury's fleet-foot fern, shimmering like silver, its delicate leaves dancing in the breeze. Kevin reached out and plucked it carefully, then tucked it safely into his wee pouch. "That was mental," Lance panted, sprawling on the ground like a landed fish. "I thought we were goners for sure." Kevin wiped the sweat frae his brow and shook his head, chuckling to himself. "Aye, mate, but sometimes you've got to listen to the wind instead of fighting it. And sometimes you just need to hurl yourself into the madness and hope you land somewhere useful." They stood there for a minute, the wind gently blowing round them, no longer trying to toss them off the cliff like a couple of unwanted sandwiches. "We better get this Fern back to McBeguine's before something else tries to kill us," Lance muttered, dusting himself off. "Aye, but first," Kevin said, turning to the wind, his hands on his hips like some kind of conquering hero. "Oi, you windy bastards. If you like this shite show, don't forget to like and subscribe for more tales of sheer stupidity. And if you want to see us barely survive the next death trap, leave a comment below and hit that wee bell icon." The wind howled in response, but this time it sounded less like fury and more like laughter. And with that, Kevin and Lance started the long climb back down the cliffs, ready for whatever daft shite awaited them next. Slanche.